Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Force here, and today I'll be providing you with a basic overview of Might and Magic Duel of Champions. This is a digital collectible card game that was released earlier this year, and here in this video I'm going to talk about some of the features that make this game unique when compared to other digital card games of the same type. We're talking about games like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! Starting off with the bare bone basics, you have got two sides, your hero and then your opposing hero. Now my hero has got a few stats that I think are important to cover. First of all, there is this Might, Magic, and Destiny stat, and depending on the hero that you play, these are going to be different, and these are basically parameters that will allow you to play certain cards in your deck. I also have some hero powers here, which I can increase my Might, Magic, or Destiny by 1, or I can draw a card by spending a resource. And then my base health, which is 20. My opponent over here, this is a basic beginner mission. He is starting off with 2 Might and 1 Destiny. He also begins with 10 health, and he's got the same basic hero powers as well. Now there are different heroes in this game that have different hero powers, and again, they've got different starter resources as well. So what are those starter resources? Well, the basic card playing resource increases by 1 every single turn. So first turn you get 1, second turn you get 2, third turn you get 3, etc, etc. But there's also this Might, Magic, and Destiny level, which is dictated by your hero card, and that's going to be parameters that allow you to play certain cards. So for example, this Skeleton Spearman here, he costs 1 base resource, but he also requires 1 Might to play. And then we have got another card here, 2 base resource, 2 Might to play, so I'm going to need to generate a second Might in order to play him my next turn. Just having 2 resource will not be enough. This character costs 2 Might, 2 resource, 2 Might, and 1 Magic, and this is 2 and 2 Might, this is 1 and 1 Destiny, this is 1 and 1 Magic, and over here is 2 resource and 2 Destiny. So those are all the cards in my opening hand, and those are the requirements for them. So at this moment, I can play this card that costs 1 resource to play and has a requirement of 1 Might. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in play, and he goes on the back line. There are 2 lines on the battlefield, the front line and the back line. Back line is reserved essentially for rangers and archers. They're called shooters in this particular game. The front line is the melee characters, the melee creatures, if you will. Now, before ending my turn, I am also able to use my hero power. Now, I have no resource at this time because I spent 1 playing my skeleton creature here, so I cannot use the power to draw a card, but I can increase my Might, Magic, or Destiny. Now, based on the cards in my hand, I am definitely going to need 2 Might, so for this turn, we're going to go ahead and increase my Might. So that has gone up to 2 now, and we can go ahead and end the turn, and we'll pass it over to the opposing hero. He chose to increase his Magic by 1, and he is also going to play this 2/1 creature that is immune to retaliation, and he's going to play a second one of those. So these guys only cost 1 resource each. He began with 2 resource because he did go second, and so he was able to put 2 creatures right into play. These are both shooters, which put them on the back line, and they are also immune to retaliation, which we'll be touching on in just a moment. So let's go ahead now. We're on our second turn, so I can play any of these cards that cost 2 resource. The only one that I can't play, actually no, I can play every one of them, so I get to make a decision. You need to play this guy. He costs 2 resource. He's got 2 attack and 4 defense, 0 retaliation. Retaliation is the number that does a counter attack. So if an opposing creature attacks into my creature, the attacking creature will get hit with the retaliation number. So for example, if this 2/1 here attacked this guy, he would take no damage because this guy has a 0 retaliation number. But if his retaliation number was 1, then he would return 1 damage to this guy, effectively killing him. That's how it would work if he survives. If a creature dies, a retaliation doesn't go through. So it's this whole system. So right now I'm thinking I need to protect this guy. You can attack basically in your own row. Every turn you can either attack in your own row, or you can move a creature. And actually, I'm not going to need to protect this guy because I can attack right now. But we're not going to do that. First thing that I like to do is play my creature for the turn, and I get to choose what I want to play. And I think I'm actually going to play... Let's go ahead and play this 1/3, or we could play the 2/4. I think I'm actually going to play the 1/3 right here. For 2 resource, I'm going to use my hero power for the turn, and we're going to go ahead and increase the Might because I want to work my way up into 4 Might so that I can play the lesser air elemental. And for this turn, I can attack with this guy because he was played last turn. You can't attack with a creature right when it comes into play unless you have what's effectively haste. This game has a variant of that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on him, and I can either choose to move him or attack, and we will choose to attack. He's going to do his 1 damage, hitting that guy's 1 health and killing him. So we're going to go ahead and end the turn now. Now I put this in this row. What's going to happen is he's going to be able to attack with his 2/1 here, and that'll do 2 damage to this guy, but he will still live because he had a total of 3 health. So there you go, that guy is all set. Okay, so now we are here on our 3rd turn. We can not play everything in our hand yet. We still can't play this because that costs 4 resource. That's something we're going to be able to play next turn. But why don't we take a look at a few of the other cards in our hand before we go ahead? Well, I guess the first thing we'll do is I might as well just attack this with this, get the kill. There we go. Okay, now he played this last turn. It is a 2/1/4, so it's got a retaliation of 1, an attack of 2, and a defense of 4. So if I attacked that here with my 1/2, you would think he's going to get hit with that retaliation 1, but the great thing about this guy is he's actually immune to retaliation, so I can freely hit that without fear of recourse. What I do have to worry about, though, is next turn him attacking into him, so I'm going to want to play a creature who can defend him. So I've got 3 resource total. So I've got a few options that I can do. Now let's take a look at a couple of our spells. We've got Purge, destroy all ongoing spells on target enemy creature. There are ongoing effects that you can put on a creature that, for example, pump up its damage or health, just as an example. So this is a way to remove that from opposing creatures. We also have Mass Grave, take a card from your hand, put it face down on top of your library, destroy target creature with a cost of 2 or less. And then we have Graveyard, draw a card, or if an opponent has more creatures on the battlefield than you, take target creature from the graveyard and put it into your hand. Now what about this Mass Grave? Could we use the Mass Grave to kill this creature? Unfortunately, actually yes, the answer is yes, we could do that. So I could get rid of his 2/4 right now, and I could also play a creature for 2, and that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go ahead and play our spell, and we are going to choose to put a card on top of our library. Why don't we just do this guy? And then we will eliminate his 2/4, just like that. And we can also play a creature for the turn, so we could either play this guy, who is a 2/4, but also I must pay 1 resource to attack with it. Or we can play this guy. He is a 2/2 with 1 retaliation, and he also has Incorporeal, which damage dealt to this creature that is non-magic damage is halved, rounded down. Well, both of them are 2 attack. That one's got the 4 defense, though, which will be better. But next turn, I don't want to have to pay the resource to attack with him next turn. So, because I'm going to want to play this for my 4 resource. So right now, I'm actually going to play this guy. And we'll pop him into play to defend this one right here, who's lower at 1 health. We want to make sure we use our hero power for the turn. So I will go ahead and increase the hero power just like that. Pass it over to the opponent. Now, there's still something that we haven't talked about, and that is these event cards. Event cards... Each player has event cards in their deck, and then every turn a new event card from each player's deck is put into play for potential use, and they have varying effects. So let's start off with this one. This is quite basic. This is Week of the Weaponsmith. You can pay any player can use either one of these event cards. So my opponent can use my event cards, I can use my opponent's event cards, and every turn, again, a new event card comes into play from both of the decks combined. So this one, you can pay 3 resource to increase the attack of the next creature you deploy this turn by 1. So if you pay your 3 resource and then you play a creature, you're going to get increased attack by 1 if you activate this event while it's in play. And then my other event here, until the end of turn, play with the top card of your library revealed. As long as the top card of your library is a creature card, all friendly creatures get +1 attack. Otherwise, all enemy creatures get +1 retaliation. So that's very, very risky. You don't know. You're either going to be helping your allies or you're going to be hurting them by increasing your opponent creature's retaliation. So that's probably an event that I don't know, wouldn't use unless I had clear rows of attack where no blocking creatures were present, essentially. Okay, so there you go. Those are the event cards. I'm not going to be using them early game because I'll be spending up most of my resource to play my stuff, but they're pretty neat. Once you get into late game, you can start throwing these down, getting creatures with increased attack, increased health. There are event cards to draw cards, all sorts of different event cards. Definitely different from a lot of other card games, and that's something that I think is really neat for this particular game. Okay, so right now we are going to go ahead and use our 4 resource to play the lesser air elemental. And then we're using our hero power for the turn. I have all the resource requirements to play everything that's in my hand at the moment, but I do know that there are cards in my deck that cost more magic than what I have, so I'm going to go ahead and increase my magic for the turn. And then it's our attack phase. We can freely attack with this guy to do 1 damage there. And then if he attacks next turn, he's going to get hit by this 2 retaliation, in which point he would die. However, a great benefit for this particular guy is that he has a charge attack, meaning when he attacks, the damage goes straight through to all opponents. So he's actually going to be able to, I think, kill off my spearman next turn. We're going to be able to do some damage to him right now, though, in this row, because there are no blocking creatures. And let's go ahead and end the turn. A couple other things, certain spells go on these rows. They're basically persistent spells that apply to both sides. So a good example is I've got a spell that makes it so that ground creatures cannot attack while the spell's in play. So I could drop it on a row, and then any of my opponent's ground creatures that were in that row wouldn't be able to attack. I don't have that particular spell at the moment, but that's just an example of something that I do have in the deck. Okay, so we've got a couple of rows we can attack into. Our opponent also played a 2/4 up here. Now I drew into this guy. He is a 2/4, he's immune to retaliation. I also have these 2 2/4s. I've got the Purge, which doesn't do me much good right now. And I still have the Graveyard, which will allow me to draw a card if I so desire. And I might actually do that. Let's take a look at the event cards in play. I can have each player draw a card for 2 resource. We also have... I can, for 0 resource, if I haven't played a card, I can draw a card, and if I do, I cannot play a card. So that basically means I draw a card, but I can't play anything. And I don't want to do that, so we're not gonna use either of these events most likely. Let me think though. Why don't I go ahead and... So he's got that 2/4 that will be coming my way. Well, I think as long as I keep... This guy's immune to retaliation, which is pretty good. Yeah, actually, why don't I play 2 creatures in this row like this, so that way I can guarantee a kill on that guy next turn. And with my remaining 1 resource, I actually think I'm going to use my hero power to draw a card. And we end up drawing into this. If opponent has more cards in their hand than you, I can take a creature from my graveyard and put it into my hand. Very nice. Okay, so we'll hit that guy for 1. We will hit this guy for 2, and then we will push 1 damage through to the opponent, and then we end the turn. So I have to say, I think this game is rather interesting. It's definitely a very unique take on it. The fact that we've got these 2 different attacking rows, the event, the specific heroes with the different hero powers. All of this is something we're starting to see more and more in card games, digital card games that are coming up, and I think that's a really neat little feature. And I don't have I don't have fatal damage for him. He's at 6. I could kill this creature. And then I can do 2, 4, 5 damage to him this turn, but we will have fatal damage in an upcoming turn. And for now, let's see, Weaponsmith, which would be, I guess that'd be nice actually, because I can go like this. So I'm going to actually do this just to activate an event. We're going to activate the Weaponsmith, and then we play this creature, and he will have +1 attack, so now he's got 3 attack, so I'll be able to kill that in the next turn. And we also have the Purge, which we could put on this right now, because he put this thing on it. Combat damage dealt to enchanted creature is halved rounded down. So that's no good. I want to be able to kill that. So we're going to go ahead and cast this and purge that creature. And uh-oh, now I can't actually attack with this guy. I made a blunder. Oh well. I'm going to attack into him a few times. I mean, I wouldn't be able to, yeah. Oh well, that's fine, doesn't matter. And then for our hero power, we're gonna go ahead and increase our magic, and then we will end the turn. So that is basically it. That is a general overview. That's essentially what the purpose of this video. I wanted to give you guys a basic overview of the game. I may very well continue playing this title. If I do, I will be sure to give you guys some updates and provide you guys with additional coverage. Also, thought it's pretty neat. They're gonna be hosting their second World Championship, a Might and Magic Duel of Champions World Championship, is being held this November in Paris, I believe. That's pretty neat. I like to see games have big events like this, and the fact that it's a card game, I think, is is even cooler. I just, you know, I like card games. I really do. So there you go, guys. A basic overview of Might and Magic Duel of Champions, the digital collectible card game set in the Might and Magic universe. The game is available to play for free. There's a link in the video description below if you'd like to check out the game yourself. I think it is a rather neat title, and like I said, if I do continue to play it, I'll be sure to provide you guys with some additional coverage. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.